Hey YouTube, it's Pete, and I'm back for a brand new episode of the Pete McHugh Show. And I tell you what, I have a very, very cool subject, or at least I hope is what would be a very cool subject to talk about for today's vlog. Society has labels. It just does. And someone who doesn't have a disability has the label of able-bodied. And as I've talked about before, that term doesn't set well with me. I don't like the term able-bodied. See, here's what I'm getting at in today's blog. Today's blog, I'm talking to my brothers and sisters in this community who have similar conditions to my own. I'm talking to folks who have handicaps or what the world would consider disabilities. We have a tendency from time to time to put people who don't have a disability on pedestals. And there are times where we tend to look at them and say, their life must be perfect because they don't have to deal with this, or they don't have to deal with that aspect of a disability, or they don't have to deal with this aspect of their daily life with a disability. And we separate them and put them in a different category from time to time. And it's almost like we dismiss them from trouble. It's almost like there are times in our lives where we can look at a person without a disability who doesn't have to face the challenges we do and exempt them from having issues and situations in the world. And there's a part of our brain that sometimes switches off. And I know this might kind of sound strange, but it sometimes switches off and puts people who don't have or are not on the journey that we are on a different pedestal. And we almost make them something beyond human. Because we almost dismiss them from the notion of struggles. And we forget that they have issues. See, and that's because in our daily lives, with the alternately able bodies that we live in, our issues are right in our faces. Our issues live in a part of our spirits, but it's not all of us. See, I'm saying this because as I've said before, my disability is a part of me, but it's not all of who I am or all of what I am. But what I'm saying is, sometimes we put our disability on a pedestal too. We're guilty of that, and we forget that we're human. We have this perception of perfection. No one is perfect, but everyone is unique. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody falls short from time to time. Everybody's weak. But weakness is not something to be ashamed of. With weakness comes an opportunity to grow and learn and evolve and adapt and come into greater things. The feelings that we have as citizens and alternately able bodies aren't as much of weird feelings as we might think. See, here's my point. When we struggle, we can become so wrapped up in what we're dealing with on a daily basis that we lose touch of reality and kind of jump off the ground. What we don't realize is that the things that we're struggling with on a daily basis, at their core, are much more universal than we allow ourselves to think. We're not as disconnected to the human race or existence or life or the circle of things as we like to sometimes place ourselves. Because sometimes we see ourselves in different categories. What I'm trying to tell you is, yes, having a disability can be challenging. Can be a challenge and can be challenging on a daily basis. And sometimes it is frustrating. Sometimes it is tough. And sometimes we do have to deal with things that other people don't have to deal with. But I'm recording this blog today to let you know that you're not alone. If you're out there with a disability, you're not as alone as you might think. The feelings that you deal with when you struggle, when you're discouraged, when you're down, when you're not in a good place, aren't as abnormal as you might realize or have a tendency to think. We're all human beings. We're all connected to something bigger, and that's the human race. We all have the potential to do great things. And yes, we're going to fall short. And yes, we're going to be human. And yes, we're going to make mistakes. But we all have a choice to look at those mistakes and say, I learned from them. And you know what? I'm going to pick myself back up. You're not alone. I'm here with you. I believe in this community. I believe in this vlog. And I believe in you. Be blessed. I'll talk to you again soon.